Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 2000 Guineas. Obviously, this past week we had the Craven Stakes at Newmarket and the Guineas Stakes at Newbury. So we've seen some of the key trial runs in preparation for the big race in 2 weeks' time. And yeah, I feel like there was a bit to take away from them. I think there was also not a lot to think about some of those runs as well. No superstars really jumped out of the ground. I mean, Al Parsland did look really good in the Greenham, and he was flying a little bit under the radar going into that race, obviously, with the likes of Zavateri and Albert Einstein taking up the top of the market. So I'll just talk about the Craven Stakes real quick. Obviously, Oxagon won. I've always thought he's a really nice horse, but I also thought he under-delivered a bit as a 2-year-old. Just a few sort of average runs, I guess. Especially after that massive win on debut at Sandown, where he won extremely dominantly, So Oxagon's now $12 for the 2000 Guineas. I think he's more of a 2000 meter horse. I think in time he'll be more like a French Derby prospect. And I'm pretty sure John Gosden said after the race that he's more of a mile and a quarter type of horse. So I don't think he's going to be a winner in the Guineas. I think he might run well, but I could see him further down the line running in 2,000 meter contests. Could even go to like an Eclipse Stakes or something if he goes well in a French Derby. So we'll just have a look at the result here. Obviously, Oxagon led from the front. It was just a normal O'Shane Murphy just embarrassing the other jockeys type of ride, to be honest. I feel like some of the others could have challenged him a little bit more. Obviously, Commander's Intent was up there on the speed for a long way, but he's just a class below some of these horses, I think. Obviously, Avicenna ran quite well. As I said before, I feel like some of those other rides should have gotten going a little bit earlier. Obviously, O'Shane was left to his own devices and ran away with the race. But I feel like the race in general was a bit of an average renewal. Obviously, Hawk Mountain, who was a Group 1 winner from last season, was meant to run here, but was scratched really close to start time with concerns over the ground, which is kind of understandable. His best forms come on a pretty wet track, so I kind of get it. I think he'll probably head to France anyways. He's not their 2000 Guineas horse. I'll get into that stable later, but Oxagon, won well, but I don't think this is really the race to establish a Guineas winner out of. Move on to the other race now. The Greenham Stakes. Where was I had a tab open. Nice. So Al Parsland won, flew a bit under the radar. Zavateri ran a monster race, I thought. He got pushed around a little bit by Ryan Moore and Albert Einstein. And obviously Zavateri, he's a bit of a smaller horse. It was a little bit up in the air whether he'd, train on as a 3-year-old because he's a bit small, but I feel like he, passed with flying colours on the weekend, surging home for second in front of Albert Einstein. I thought it was an interesting race. I think personally, Zavateri is one of my favourite horses in training. I think he's just an absolute rock star. So it's hard to remove my bias. I don't know if he can win a 2000 Guineas, but I think he'll be thereabouts in the finish. Mad story as well, how he was bred from, I think Aga Khan bred him, and they sold him as a yearling or something like that. And then he's picked up by some new owners, and they go and win the Moyglare, and he just really takes the racing world by storm, especially as a 2-year-old. Even though he didn't win the Dewhurst, but he went pretty close. He ran very well in that race, I thought. So we'll just have a look at that race real quick. Obviously, Albert Einstein got roughed around poor old Zavateri a little bit, but Al Parsland had clear air and essentially won the race. So I thought it was an interesting race. I actually liked Ardisia in that race too, but obviously he didn't really fire. I don't really know where he'll go next. Probably not a 2000 Guineas, maybe some listed race like the Heron Stakes at Sandown, something like that. So it was definitely interesting. The Greenham Stakes, I thought. Now we'll just go back in time a little bit. We'll look at the Dewhurst Stakes. Now this is proving to be an absolutely monstrous form line heading into the 2000 Guineas. Every horse here has done well since, pretty much. obviously condolences to Yulong after losing Juwan. Passed away pretty recently, which was a massive blow to the race, I think, because I think he would have been a massive chance of winning. Judging by how the other horses have ran since, obviously Gestard, he went to America after that race and won the juvenile turf. It was an enormous run as well. He was literally like 3 wide the whole way. Drew like barrier like 16 or something and ended up winning quite cozily, I thought. So Gestard's very good, but I'll talk about him a little bit later. Distance Storm in 3rd place. I think, and as you can see as well, he's quite fancied in the market for the 2000 Guineas. I reckon he's a massive chance. I think if you're targeting a horse for this race that's, coming in fresh, like without a trial run in like the Craven or something, they need to be at the absolute top level, and I think Distance Storm is at that level. Obviously running 3rd in the Dewhurst, and also Zavateri as well, coming 4th there. And then, as I was saying, Oxagon ran 5th here, won the Craven. Alparslan, you can see, came 6th, but won the Greenham. So this race is proving to be a real good form for the 2000 Guineas, I think. Now we'll have a quick look at just some of the other runners in the field. Obviously, some obvious ones I haven't mentioned, like Bo Echo. There's every chance that he's a monster, and Carl Burke is just absolutely flying. Like, he's just such a good trainer. So there is a world where Bo Echo just goes and wins, but it's a 2000 Guineas. It's a really hard and really open race normally. Obviously, in the past we've seen City of Troy go off at like $1.80. I think August Rodin was a really hot favourite for his renewal, but obviously, didn't fire. Same City of Troy. So I think Bo Echo is very good, but what did he beat in those races? I guess I think it was the Royal Lodge Stakes that he won. But as I said, I want to be backing something out of the Dewhurst for the 2000 Guineas. I remember last year, I was on Shadow of Light because champion 2-year-old. There was this narrative that he was going to go sprinting, but I kind of suspected they'd go to a mile straight away. I don't know, probably didn't really make sense logically, but he still ran a belter of a race, running 3rd. Arguably if Buick was on him, he would have won. So, although to be fair, Barcelona gave him a really good ride, I thought. So yeah, I think Bo Echo is an interesting favourite, but I'm probably going to be looking away from him. As I said before, Distance Storm comes from that Dewhurst form. The stable just, they usually do very well. Obviously, Notable Speech won it 2 years ago. And obviously won last year with Ruling Court. Although he came from a really interesting line of form because he had that Maidan winter. So I think I tried to do that with Talk of New York this year, but obviously it didn't quite go to plan. Now I'll talk about the Ballydoyle horses. Now obviously Albert Einstein, if he goes, you can't have any confidence backing that horse. I don't think. Aidan O'Brien is saying this horse needs to go sprinting, but just judging by his runs, he needs a mile. He just looks like a mile or so. Yeah, very odd. But obviously, Puerto Rico, really solid horse. Won that Group 1 at Longchamp on Arc Day last year. Won very well. He's obviously a Group 1 horse, but I feel like the vibes have been they're going to send him to France. They're going to keep him there, run him in the 2000 Guineas there. But obviously, with Albert Einstein not reaching the level that they imagined, that they might just send Puerto Rico here. And the market obviously thinks that as well. I'm a big fan of Gestard as well, as I said. Monster win on Breeders' Cup weekend last year. But, is he the second stringer here, kind of? It's weird backing second stringers. And also with the stable as well, backing them first up, fresh, is just kind of asking for trouble, to be honest. So, so to be fair, I probably won't back any Ballydoyle horses in 2000 Guineas. I think it's just too risky, and as I said, you're just asking for trouble. So, King's Trail as well. Seems like a very short price, I think. Obviously, follows that Notable Speech route to the 2000 Guineas, winning on the all-weather. But I think, obviously, Distance Storm is going to be the main play for that stable in the race. We'll go further down. Obviously, I've spoken about some of these that have run over the weekend. I think Hawk Mountain, yeah, he'll go to like France or maybe to like a French derby or something like that. So Mangan is quite interesting. He obviously trained by Francis Henri Graffard, who's, you know, for some time he's been one of the better, like the GOAT trainers in the world. So obviously, you know, firing stable. Although it's sometimes a bit hard to equate that, you know, French 3-year-old form to an English classic. So I think he does look very good. I thought he finished off really well upon his seasonal reappearance. However, I think, like, when was last? I think a French horse won the race like ages ago, trained by Andre Fabre. I could be wrong, but I thought I read something the other day saying that. But it's just a bit hard to stack up that French form. Obviously, with the girls, you know, we saw Ramatoile run really close in the 1,000 Guineas 2 years ago. Arguably, she should have won, but you know, they can fire. But I'm just, you know, it's a British classic. Like, you know, I feel like there's, you know, better horses. And yeah, I mean, there's a few others. I mean, the Secret Adversary won quite well in Ireland. It was about a week ago, and he beat a bunch of Aidan O'Brien runners. So I think he could be like a good outside chance. But in saying that, I think they're going to stay in Ireland. I think they're going to go to the Irish 2,000 Guineas. There's some talk of a boy named Sousa being targeted for this race, but I don't really understand it. Like he you know, like I feel like he's more of a 2,000 meter like derby prospect. You know, he placed in the that Group 1 at Saint-Cloud, that 2,000 meter one. So I feel like he's like, feels weird trying to make him go to this race. But in saying that, he's by Star Spangled Banner. I kind of get it. There is a sprinting element to his staying form. So yeah, I kind of get it, like a little bit, but I wouldn't do it personally. But I think at the end of this, I think the two that I like are Distant Storm, Dewhurst form, and Zavateri. I mean, he's just such a dog, isn't he? Like, absolute, like, I just love that horse. Like, great attitude. You know, I feel like he knows that he's a really good horse. That's the impression that I get when I see him, like, going out to the barriers and, you know, in the pre-race, that sort of thing. So I'm probably going to have something on Zavateri come race day. I think $23 is probably like a good price. Like, you know, it's just such an open race, these British classics. But yeah, it should be interesting. And obviously on that weekend as well, you got the 1,000 Guineas the day after, and in the States you've got the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. Sorry, so it's just a bloody awesome weekend of racing. Probably won't get any sleep, obviously, on Australian time, so it is what it is. But you know, roll on Newmarket in 2 weeks. But if you like this sort of these sorts of videos, just like and subscribe. Goes a long way. Leave a comment. Follow me on Twitter, that sort of thing. And I'll see you later.